My word for the year, last year, 2023, yesterday, was unfuckwittable. It is a word that is a huge part of my brand because I aim to inspire women to become financially unfuckwittable. But I chose just unfuckwittable in that year because I wanted to embody that word in all the areas of my life. And I know it's such a vulgar word. I told y'all I was half righteous, half ratchet. But I felt like it was the only word so far. And maybe y'all can give me a better word um, for the half righteous community um, that has the same energy with it, that fully embrace how it feels to feel like I cannot be pulled off my path. Like I am at a state where nothing is going to make me give up anymore. Nothing is going to make me quit. Setbacks are not going to discourage me. Like I am unfuckwittable. And for a lot of my life, I feel like I'd be on the path, I'd be doing all the right things, and then just shit would just happen. Life would be lifing. ADHD would be ADHD. And next thing I know, I'm in a cycle. And it felt like it felt defeating. It felt discouraging to be really smart, to be really capable, to be really hardworking, to be really disciplined, um, and and feel like outside elements or my own internal negative self talk was messing with the trajectory of my life and my ability to make purpose. And I really wanted to get closer and closer to being unfuckwittable in general. And as I came close to the end of the year, I kept hearing God asking me, "Do you trust me?" And my word of the year for 2022 was trust. And Lord have mercy, be careful what you ask for, because when you put a word in the universe, He's going to allow you to experience that not the way that you expect. But I was in so many scenarios that were so out of my control that I had no choice but to trust God. You know, health issues with family members that I could not control. Like it just required me to learn how to exercise trust. And that was one of the greatest gifts because it made this year of trying to feel unfuckwittable even easier, because I think to feel that way, you have to have trust. You have to have trust in your creator, and you have to have trust in yourself that everything is figure outable, that um, everything works out for your good, that even the bad things serve you. And when you get to a point in your mindset where you feel like even the bad things serve you, nothing really fucks with you. Like it's annoying, it makes you sad, it makes you mad, but it doesn't consume you. It doesn't consume you to a point where you are unable to take action, where you get so depressed that you can't function and you can't make good choices. Um, and I feel like I am at that place. And the hardest thing that I had to do this year was to trust God, um, to step away from something that right now is a distraction. It is an emotional distraction, it's a physical distraction, it is a time distraction. And yet it was really good. There was nothing wrong um, with that person or with the way we spent time and how we interacted with each other. But I felt like God needed my full attention. And in my mind, when I ruminated about making the choice, especially when there's nothing, majorly wrong, it felt like, why would you give up this really good thing when there's nothing really wrong, and when people are struggling to have that good thing for themselves? Um, and I felt like this was just more of a test of obedience. Is I wanted to demonstrate to God that I only need you. And I feel like, and this is a difference, this is not the same thing as only wanting, but I only need God. And I feel like if I could get myself to a point where I really embodied that and felt like all I need is God, then I can endure the thought of losing anything and it not disturb me. Because in the past, when I thought about like losing a friendship or losing a boyfriend or losing a job or losing something, it felt like the most emotional whirlwind. It would completely derail me. Just the thought of it set me on a physical spiral and made it hard for me to work on whatever task I had at hand. And so the thought of loss was fucking with me. And by making the decision to trust God and say, all I need is you, I am no longer a victim to those thoughts. I can have those things happen in life and it not pull me off my square. It I still be able to do what I need to do. I still am able to wake up with gratitude and find joy. I'm still able to be impactful to the community I know God has put me here to serve. And so I, I'm so proud of both of us for making that choice to step away from each other so that we had time with God to work on us, on healing the things we needed to heal, and to be fully consumed with God's purpose for our lives. And here's the thing, I realized that God could always bring that back together. The ability to trust God allows me to let go because I know that I'm not going to die because the only thing I need is God. And when I say I'm not going to die, like, I mean, if I die, I die. I'm not here to experience it. So it really doesn't matter. But I our brain is catastrophizing everything like, it's going to be the end of us. We won't be able to survive it. Like we'll die physically or emotionally or spiritually or mentally or some way. We feel like it is the most devastating thing. But when you get to a point where you really only need God, it doesn't feel so devastating. It feels like it might feel disappointing, but it doesn't feel devastating or discouraging. um and it's interesting, the word discourage, because this kind of means to like undo, to take away courage, to take away your courage. And you do need courage to act, to do anything different, to change your life, to move into what God is calling you to do, to change any just regular behavior. You need courage because your brain, I mean, literally, if you research how the brain works, the brain sees any change you want to make, even good change, as scary. It doesn't know it. It's not familiar. It's like, nope, this is different. Danger. And it doesn't want to do it. And it takes courage for you to overcome those thoughts that you'll fail at it. Like the danger could be that the act itself is not scary, but it's like, but you might fail. You made New Year's resolutions in the past and then you never did them before. And what happens when you fail at your New Year's resolutions? You get sad and you beat yourself up. And do you really want to feel like that? No, you don't want to feel like that. So let's just not even make goals. Let's not even try a new thing because you don't want to experience that pain. That's what your brain tells you. And it requires for you to have courage to overcome that fear of failure, that fear of being without those feelings of scarcity. It requires you to have confidence that everything you need is before you. Everything that you need is inside of you. And I am so happy. You know what was so amazing is that it we were able to have that conversation in such agreement with what we needed and why we were making that choice, and release each other in love. And I've never experienced anything like that. It actually felt like the greatest act of love is to allow the other person to be obedient to God, to allow the other person to heal, and to trust that if we're meant to be together, to trust God enough that this space is actually to make us the best version of ourselves, for us to make so that we have the opportunity to be the most successful version of ourselves. Like, I believe that God would have blessed our union regardless, because we love God and we are a good fit for each other. But I feel like we might not have completely fulfilled our purpose, and that void could have planted a seed of resentment in some ways. And I've I believe that this time is going to allow us to do the things that we need to do individually, so that we're not neglecting some important part of our journey for each other. And that felt really good. It wasn't easy for either of us, but it felt right. And we are so proud of each other. Like, we are such a weird couple. If you know me and know us, we have such a beautiful relationship. And it makes me really proud to have been able to end something in the same beauty in which we lived. And it also taught me something else, that endings of things doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't mean that it was a waste of time. The time we spent together really served us. I have grown so much as a person, even with our ebbs. There was lots of flows, lots of highs, lots of really good. But our relationship wasn't perfect. And in those lows, even, I began to understand myself more. I began to want to understand myself more. I began to want to understand why I think the way I think, or why I feel the way I feel, why I make the choices I make. And all of that just brought me closer to God. But also, the relationship just quite literally brought me closer to God, because we he was such a deeply spiritual person and really committed to God, and wanted me to feel free to pursue God as myself as well. And I was already on my journey of reconnecting with God anyway, but I'm gonna tell you, it makes things a lot easier when you are doing that journey with somebody who also has the same values as you. Because you don't have to question it, whether it's weird if you want to wake up and start your day listening to the word or praying, or if you say things like, God spoke to me, right? You don't have to worry if you come to them and say, I feel like God is asking me to trust him and step away, that he won't understand how important it is to listen to God's voice and to be obedient. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm so completely grateful for that time. Um, and I'm optimistic on the romantic end of things. I'm optimistic that when I have done the work that God needs me to do on myself, and it's not to say like you ever get finished doing the work and it's like you got to be done for him to, when God feels like I have done the work on myself where he can trust me, that I can be in partnership with someone and not deprioritize myself for that relationship. And I'm saying this to say, like, I was never asked to deprioritize myself ever. But I think I always had the habit of putting everything and everyone before me. And it's not just him. My job, everything came before me. I'm at the very, very bottom of my list always. But that relationship showed me that in the past, I thought I was doing that because everyone else had a need greater than mine. And I felt like it was service to say, let me help this person, let me do for them, let me be there for them, and let me put myself lower on the list because they need me more. God gave me an opportunity to be with someone where they didn't need me, they wanted me, and where they could do for me, where there wasn't as great of a demand, just to demonstrate that I will still put myself at the bottom of the list just because I enjoyed it. Like in the past, it was because I felt like somebody was needing me because they were in crisis mode. And then this time it was a beautiful, fun relationship. And I was prioritizing those things over the work on myself, the work on my time, the work on my professional development. And I feel like God was saying, like, do you see yourself? Do you see what you do? It doesn't really matter who it is. You can put yourself at the bottom of the list. Why do you do that? And I really had to sit with that. Like, when I got to the root of why I did it, I think that I have a long history of abandonment issues, which is why it's so hard for me to step away from somebody else, because I feel like, oh, I'm abandoning them. I'm doing to them what I don't want done to me. And I think I subconsciously have adopted this ideology that if I'm the best of everything, that people won't leave. If I'm the best employee, they'll never let me go. If I am excellent, my parents' attention won't won't leave, right? And it created an obsession with perfectionism in me, where I had to be doing all the right things all the time. And that, I value excellence still, but that pressure of being perfect was not healthy. It did not serve me. Um, and now I get the freedom to be human, because I'm no longer feeling like if I'm if I'm perfect, people will leave. And that's in itself not where it stops. That's where I thought it stopped. I think the feeling stopped that if people leave, I'll fall apart. I won't be okay. But now that I just feel like I just need God, I know that that's not true. And I no longer have to fear anybody's permanence or impermanence in my life. I know that I will be okay, but more importantly, I know that they will be okay if I step away, because the same God that loves me loves them too. And that is so liberating, because it allows you to know that wherever you are in life, you are there because you choose to be, because you want to be, not because you feel obligated to be. And that feels very unfuckwittable to me. That feels very empowering to me. To know that you are fully capable of existing and thriving on your own, and yet you choose to do it together because you know you'll go further together. And and it brings you joy to be making a decision from a place of love and not from a place of fear. And sometimes some things are so good that it creates fear. Like, that's so crazy. Like, it's good. What's it? Because when things are good, you're like afraid of, if it stops, will you never have good again? Or will the good stop? But here's the thing, the good doesn't have to stop, because the good is in you, the good is in God. Um, and once you fully understand that, you feel safe. And one of my highest values is safety. You feel safe. You feel safe. And it makes your brain go, okay, this is not so scary. And when you feel safe, you can take action. You can change your habits, you can change your choices, and you can begin to uncover things that you never knew existed. You begin to discover a version of yourself that you never knew was there. And I'm excited to meet her. I'm excited to meet the most unfuckwittable version of me in 2024. And I want to encourage you to get to a place where you just need God, because there are going to be things that happen in this life that we can't prepare for, we can't predict, we can't prevent. And we are going to do our best to prepare ourselves so we're not being reckless and not being good stewards of our time, our wisdom, right? But there are still going to be things that life is still going to life. ADHD is still going to ADHD. But if we have confidence, then those things don't rattle us to a point where we can't take make good choices moving forward. My word for the year for this year is self-advocacy. And here's what I think about self-advocacy. Self-advocacy is the ability to ask for what you need from where and whom you need it. The ability to communicate what you need. And what we did yesterday was we communicated what we needed individually, what we felt like God was asking us to do. And we were able to receive that from each other. And as a result, I feel like we have so much to look forward to. God could bring us right back together for a month from now. Like, it could be an Abraham and Isaac story, and God was just doing it just to test our obedience. God can never bring us together again. But we were able to advocate for ourselves and to communicate. And that requires trust and the partner to be able to do that. But here's the thing, even if it is somebody you cannot trust with what you need, you still need to self-advocate. Even if you know that their response is not going to be well received, that they are going to, buck back at where your boundaries are and what you are asking for, or question why you want what you want or need what you want, still ask for what you need. You have got to put it out there. You have got to fight for you. This is your life. This is your journey. You have got to unapologetically, unfuckwittability. Is that a word? Unfuckwittable is not a word in itself, but it's a word to us, right? Unfuckwittably. That's what we're going to say. Ask for what you need. But you can't ask for what you need if you don't even know what you need. And so, spend some time reflecting on the past year. Spend some time reflecting on your life and think about what is going on in your life, what has been going on in your life, what thoughts you've been having, what feelings you've been having, what things have been going on, and write them all down. Do a brain dump of all the things you're thinking, feeling, seeing, doing, all the patterns you're noticing, so that you have a greater sense of awareness. A lot of times we don't want to look at where we are because it's traumatizing. Like, you don't want to pull up your bank statement, but oh my God, I don't want to log in. I don't want to see the damage I did over the weekend. But that awareness gives you the information you need to take action, to make a choice, to put into play things to help you to from making a bad situation worse. So stop being afraid to look at yourself. It is hard. I ain't gonna lie. I had to do some self-reflection. I was like, oh my God, is that me? Do you really feel that way about yourself? I thought that you loved yourself. And I'm looking at these choices and I'm not sure that you do. That was hard for me to see for the first time, that I didn't operate in self-love. Um, I love myself now, but when I first took the time to look at myself, that was really hard. So I want you to take a look at your life, take a look at what you're doing, take a look at the people in your life, take a look at the situations in your life, and figure out what's working for you and what's not working for you. And for the things that's not working for you, I want you to do the root work to understand why. Is it a system? Is it your conditioning? Is it the thought process, the thoughts that have been imposed on you? Is it a belief you need to unearth? Is it a tool that just does not work for you? When you begin to be curious about what's not working instead of judgmental about yourself and your failures, then you can solve problems. Don't judge yourself. Be curious so that you can actually take action and go, man, this is where you are. Sis, it's okay. I'm going to be your best friend. Say that to yourself. Be your own best friend. Be your own best friend. And say to yourself, I see you, and I see you're struggling with this. How can I help? And when you are trying to help your friend, you get really curious about and try to objectively look at the situation and figure out what we can do, what you can ask for. It's so easy for you to help others, but it's so hard for us to advocate for ourselves. But I want you to do that hard work. I want you to do the root work this year, because when you know what you need, you know what to ask for, you know what to create. And then I want you to create your vision boards. And then I want you to create your vision for this year. Create a vision based out of what you know you need for yourself, because you have enough self-awareness and you have developed self-acceptance that you accept. You're not just aware of where you are, you accept where you are without judgment, so that you can get what you need. That you are not about to beat yourself up and add to the fuckery of fucking up your own self by talking bad about yourself. You're able to look at that situation and go, okay, sis, I see you. Okay, best friend, I see you. And this wasn't working for you. And that's okay. Or maybe this works for you, but maybe you need support. Maybe you need accountability. Maybe you need a coach. Maybe you need a different tool. Maybe you need therapy. Maybe you need medication. Maybe you need something, right? To embrace help as a sign of wisdom, not a sign of weakness. Literally, I just got finished reading Genesis 1, like the creation story all over again. And God said it was not good for man to be alone. And so he created woman to be help. It's not good for us to do life alone. And so don't feel bad if you need support. If this podcast is your support, allow me to be your support. Allow me and my sister's stories. Allow me and my sister's journeys, our failures and our wins, to be your support. But also make sure that you see God, because I'm not what you need. I might be extra. I might be what you want, but I am not what you need. And I don't want you to depend on me. I want you to depend on God. I want you to build your support system, because everything I teach about money, anything anybody teaches about anything, none of it matters if you don't have a strong foundation. And that foundation begins with God. And then we layer it with the things God told us would help us. And I believe people are one of those things. And so that's it. That's all I got for you this morning. I hope that you guys have started thinking about who you are, where you are, and what you need. And you're welcome to adopt my word of self-advocacy and go hard for yourself all year long. But I would love to know if you have a different word in mind for yourself. And I want you to share it with me. Tell me, what is your word for the year? What is your 2024 year? Whoa, 2024 word of the year. And also, I want you to come out to my vision bank party. I'm giving you this time to think about what you want, but my God, I want you to be able to create your beautiful vision banks. My 2023 vision bank, which I've now opened, is right here behind me. And I always love, actually, I always love looking at it to see how many things I've gotten off this list, but I really want you to take the frame off. I really want you to be able to come. It's a bank. I really want you to be able to come and create a vision bank with us, because we make sure that when you guys create vision banks, they are not just a board with some pretty pictures that have no meaning, that they are a strategy. This is a strategy board. This board includes not just your goals, but it includes the directions of how you're going to reach those goals. I was just having a live conversation with a friend the other day, and I was saying, would you say, like, I really want to get to, let's say, New York, and not put the information in your GPS? Like, let's say you didn't know how to get to New York, all right? Would you just say, this is my goal, I want to get to New York, and then just set out in your car driving in a general direction? No, you would try to get directions. You would try to figure out the milestones where, you know what I mean? You would try to make sure that you're intentional about figuring out the path to get there. Most of the time, our goals fail, not because they weren't really good goals, not because we weren't committed to them, because we didn't do that next step of creating a strategy to reach those goals. And so, my Vision Bank Party is designed to give you time to really think through some of those steps so that you actually can be strategic in month one, in month two. Like there's a process, and each month feels like an achievement of a goal all in itself. And you're able to see when you're off and you need to recalibrate. So I really want you guys to come out. I really want you guys to build relationships and network with the other ladies. Men are welcome, but it's probably gonna be mostly ladies who are in the building. It is going to be on January the 13th from 1 to 3 at Make Your Merch, but you got to get tickets. So you can go to my Instagram page at Young Rich Rooted. You can go to my Facebook page, and you can DM me if you are following me and know me. If you really know me, you can send me a text message and I'll send you the link. Tickets are limited. So if you want to come to the event, get your tickets now, because today is January 1st. January 13th is right around the corner. Feel free to bring, your own magazines, any pictures of anything that's meaningful to you, because I do think it's important that your vision board is personal and not generic. So some of the goals you have for yourself, it's just not going to be in a magazine. It's just not. So feel free to bring anything that you feel that might be beneficial for you to have inside your vision board as well. But we will have magazines. Bring some Black magazines, y'all, because there are only like 2 publications, and we want to see ourselves in here, let's be honest. And most of the magazines, the health, home, and garden, that's a whole conversation for another day, which is not enough of us in these other kinds of magazines. So feel free to bring that. But everything else I will have provided for you. There'll be some light snacks. There'll be some music, and that's it. I'm just excited to see y'all. And thank you for allowing me to share this with you and be transparent with you and do the root work with you. And I hope that it inspires and encourages you to do the work for yourself. As I always end an episode with, keep growing, because I know that I'm still growing. And if my sister was on this call tonight, she would say, or this morning, she would say, and I'm growing too. But I wanted to come to you all by myself today to start the year off, to let you know where we were going. And Kimski in the place to be will be back on the next episode. And I am going to also be pulling in some of the audio from some of my lives that I'm having with some amazing people over this year. So you are going to hear me and Kim, but you're also going to hear some other conversations, because I don't want you to miss out on those either. And I will give you like little snippets and try to put some of these conversations in context for you. So please, please, please continue to share, like, subscribe, give 5 stars, give reviews, so that the algorithm can algorithm and share us with a larger community. Because if you appreciate the work that I am doing, and the conversations that have meaning to you, consider that they might have meaning to somebody else, and be a good budget bestie and share it. That's it, y'all. Happy New Year!